Okay, hi. It's great to see you all there. If we will allow a little time for people to join. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Helen. Okay, while people are joining, can you please write in the chat where you are from, where you're connecting from? I am right now in sunny Hague. It's finally feeling like spring. The winter is going away, thankfully. Okay, South Africa, Barcelona. Oh, I love Barcelona. It must be so nice there right now. We have Poland, Tirana, Madrid, Romania. We have Bilbao. Okay, a lot of Spanish people here today. Norfolk. Hello, Norfolk. I've been to Norfolk. It's very nice. Miami. Oh my God, what time is it? It must be so early for you. Thank you for joining us on this 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning. You are dedicated. Thank you for joining us. I hope you have still in bed. I hope you have your coffee. Okay, we have Kenya. Hi. One more person from Czech Republic. Hello. Poland, Romania. Oh, another person from England. Suffolk, Norfolk, Suffolk. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right. Three from Czech. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So, while we are waiting for more people to join, can you also write what are you expecting from today's conference? How do you understand the topic, how to scale? What are your thoughts on what we're going to talk about today? What do you hope to take home from today? Can you please share your thoughts and ideas in the chat as well? How to scale? What does it mean, scaling for you? How to improve performance as a language teacher? Insights and strategies on how to grow your own business. Yes, absolutely. Nina and Rachel are going to give very inspirational talks. How to escape the hourly rate pricing traps. Yes, you are here for Rachel. Okay, how to grow as an online teacher. Yes, we are going to address all of these questions today. And hopefully give you a lot of inspiration and points of growth. How to market yourself more effectively online and to create a different mindset towards finance and what you're worth. Yes, absolutely. How to get away from students thinking an hourly rate is high. Absolutely. How to get away from such students in general and find the right students for you. Yes, that's what we're going to talk about today. Fantastic ideas. Okay, hopefully that you will get all your answers by the end of this 3 hours where we are going to talk about how to scale. I hope to know strategies improve my job teaching my students. Yes. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at what exactly we're going to talk about today. First of all, Amazy.uk, we are organizing this conference, and Amazy.uk is a digital workspace for educators. Let me tell you a little bit about the platform and what it does. This is a space where you can find thousands of ready-to-use interactive and customizable materials, where you can create your own interactive and customizable materials for your students with self-checking interactive exercises. You can easily share them with your students and other teachers. And also you can track progress of your students very easily. We also have great tools for customizing and developing tailor-made materials with AI assistant and a lot of different tools for professional growth. So these are today's speakers. We have Rachael Roberts, Nina Hanáková, we have me, Polina Venglovskaia, and Teodora Toma. Welcome all our speakers. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming to share all your expertise and insights. We love you. And here you can see all the talks, all the topics that we are going to hear today. How to earn more with value-based pricing, how to change your financial mindset, how to start your own teaching business, and also digital marketing for educators. Tell us which talk do you hope to learn more from? Which talk are you most interested in? And while you're at it, also please take note that we today have a Q&A window. Try to find it. It's where you can ask questions to the speakers, and we will be able to display the answers for everyone to see. So when you have questions during the presentations, type your questions in the Q&A window, please. Okay, digital marketing, financial mindset, all of them, digital marketing, pricing. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Yes, I'm sure that all sessions are going to be informative and inspirational. Okay, fantastic. All right, so what we're going to do now is let me tell you that for everybody who joins us today, by the end of today, you all get a 50% discount off an annual plan on Amazy.uk. You can use this promo code SCALE50 to get your 50% off annual plan. It is valid for everybody who is just starting on Amazy.uk today, and the offer lasts until midnight today. So if you get inspired and if you feel ready to improve your teaching game, go on Amazy and use this offer. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is an icebreaker. Let's get to know each other, let's network and discuss our expectations for today's conference. We are going to send all of you into breakout rooms. So this is a great opportunity for you to meet your colleagues, to get new connections and opportunities, exchange LinkedIn profiles, and simply talk about who you are, where you come from, what exactly you do, and maybe share some ideas and thoughts. Just give me a second.
Hello?
Hello, can you unmute yourselves here? Is it working?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello, hi.
How are you feeling this morning or afternoon?
afternoon. Yep, good, thanks. And you?
I'm great. I'm really excited about this. I've been waiting for this conference because the topic is so interesting for me. I am talking here, of course, and we're organizing it, but I think this is something that we need to talk more about on it on here. Many people talking about changing the mindset, growing as business owners and so on. Do you have your independent students or do you work for a school organization or a platform? Jenny.
I'm self-employed in Spain, so I find my own students. Yeah, I work in companies as well, but as a self-employed person.
I say, okay, okay.
And I'm thinking about opening an English school, English academy
Okay, okay,
this
great.
year or next year.
Okay. So you hope to learn something that will help you move towards this goal today.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah,
great, great. I hope you do.
thank you.
Annetta, hi.
Hi, hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Okay,
meet
so mainly I'm working in high school,
you.
in public high school. However, I would like to quit and to work independently. So right now I have only, some students, but also mainly teenagers, and I would like to work with companies,
Yes,
with adults. I'm also the neuro language coach.
yes. That's
Um,
interesting.
and I'm creating content on my LinkedIn, so I'm trying to do something.
Yeah, everything you say, it seems like some of it will be mentioned in every talk today. So hopefully you will get some answers and some ideas for your business as well. I'm also specifically going to talk about, the first steps you can take on your path when you want to break away from a school or from an organization where you work and start completely independently. And yeah, that's going to be interesting. So we also have Maria and Beata. I'm sorry if I'm
Yes,
mispronouncing.
I work at high school and community college,
Hello, yes, thank you. And
and I used to work as a freelance, but that was like 20 years ago.
oh,
So
okay. Okay. Would you like to start your own sort of independent practice?
maybe when my daughter will be older,
Okay.
perhaps maybe, but right now, because of the her after school activities, I prefer working at school just to have the schedules, like the
Yes,
regular hours.
I
Yeah.
see. I see. So you think that if you work independently, it will take more of your time and you will not be able to do
Yes,
things
because
that
I
you...
used to start at 6 o'clock in the morning and finish at 9 in the afternoon. So
Yes.
yeah,
The thing is, yeah, this independent career, there's a growing your own business is definitely not for everyone, and you don't have to feel pressured into doing it. And
yes,
yeah,
that's
it's
true.
definitely not something that you must do. It's something that you can do. And, sometimes it's not the best option for you. So yeah,
Yes,
we
agree.
will talk about that as well today. Um, okay, thank you. And Maria, hello. You don't have to reply or unmute yourself if you don't want to. But I hope you enjoy today's conference. Okay. And we also have one more person here. Uh, Hello, newcomers.
Hi, I'm sorry I got disconnected. So I
That's
even
fine.
catch up with what we're supposed to do in the breakout rooms.
Yeah, so in the breakout rooms, we're networking, we're sharing who we are, what we do, exchanging LinkedIn profiles, and talking about what we hope to gain from today's conference. Uh,
Okay,
yeah, just for a few more minutes.
okay.
Yes.
So I would start by saying that I've been working in the field of education for 29 years by now.
Mm-hmm.
I've got experience in dealing with Egyptian national curriculum and international education in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I'm Egyptian,
Mm-hmm.
living in Saudi Arabia. That's it. I've started a sort of online channel. It was a YouTube channel to help students of SAT and ACT
Mm-hmm.
get prepared for their exams. But I think I missed some of the tools that would help me spread the channel.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so hopefully you will get some, especially we're going to talk about digital marketing today with Theodora Toma.
Yes.
So maybe
Yes.
that will give you some answers. And actually, I have a colleague, Usama, who is also from Egypt and also lives in Saudi Arabia now. I think it's Saudi Arabia. I may be wrong. Maybe it's no, I think he is living in Saudi Arabia. So maybe you can connect on LinkedIn. His name is Usama Bashara, so it sounds like a very
Okay.
similar path.
Uh, that's my LinkedIn.
Okay. Yes, please share your LinkedIns. Let's all connect.
You're muted, Polina.
Sorry. Welcome back. Okay, waiting for everybody to come back. Hi. I hope you enjoyed this little networking. I hope you exchanged LinkedIn profiles and found some interesting people. Okay, let's get back here. So, this done, now we can move on to our first speaker today. And that's Theodora Toma. Hello, Theodora. She's going to talk about digital marketing for educators. Theodora is the founder and manager of Tailored Media Digital Marketing Agency, and she specializes in helping international small and medium-sized businesses in the educational industry to succeed online. And during Theodora's talk, you're going to learn proven strategies for attracting, targeting, and converting ideal clients through effective messaging, platform selection, and lead nurturing techniques. Hi, Theodora.
Hi, thank you for the introduction.
Of course. So, I'm giving the microphone over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. I will just need a quick confirmation that everything is fine.
Yes, we
Can
can.
you see? Awesome.
And please don't forget to write your questions in the Q&A box during this talk if you have any, and we will address them at the end of the presentation.
Awesome. I'm also going to fully share my screen. So awesome. Thank you very much for the confirmation. Hi, it's super nice to meet you all. I'm Theodora. Just a bit more about me. I founded my agency Taylor Media because I realized that I want to do things differently to how things are actually done in agencies. And I also realized that in the industry of education, it's actually the place where I want to make an impact. My first jobs were in education. I work with different businesses, with educators, and I realized that there is actually the place where I want to make an impact because educators want to help people to teach useful things for them and help them grow. And basically, on my side, I want to support their mission and just make sure that I'm fully on their side. It's not just me in the agency. I also have colleagues, and we implement everything from strategy creation, social media, video creation, everything so that you as educators, as business owners, have almost no work to do, like just the very basics so that we make sure you are going in the right direction and we are on the same page. We've already talked a bit in the breakout room, and I could see let's say sources of new clients you actually have. But I'm actually curious if you can maybe write in the chat, how do you actually get new clients? What sources do you have? Do you already do marketing? Do you post on LinkedIn, or do you just have word of mouth? Anything would help me understand a bit more your exact situation. Word of mouth, LinkedIn, and email list. Okay. So it seems like some of you are already doing a bit more marketing. Zero strategy at this point. I hope that after the session you are going to maybe start small. Okay. So from what I see, some of you have already do a bit of marketing. Some of you just rely on word of mouth. Word of mouth is something that I've noticed for my clients before they were actually my clients and before we started working together. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. A lot of you mentioned that you rely on word of mouth, and that's awesome. Don't get me wrong. It shows that you are such a great teacher that your students want to recommend you to other students, and that they want to help their friends, their family, to grow and to develop the skills. But from my perspective and from a marketing perspective, it blocks a completely new channel for you to get new students. Because if you are such a great teacher, you can show the world how great you are. You can show your skills to the world. You can connect with other students through marketing. That's what marketing is meant to do, to leverage you as a teacher, as a person, and of course to attract new students. You are going to, if you already create your image online, you are going to build trust, because starting a course, it's a lot of commitment from people. I'm not talking about financial commitment, it's also time-wise. So if before people actually make the decision, okay, this is the person I want to be my teacher, if they already trust you and they have like a mental note saying, okay, I really trust this person, I can really relate to this person prior to actually, contacting you, paying for your course, then you already have their vote of confidence, if I can call it like that. Of course, marketing is going to help you generate awareness for your services, but more than that, it's going to help you consolidate your business. And one quick example, I have one client, she offers German courses. I'm going to relate to this example during the presentation because I think it's going to help us all understand the ideas. At the very beginning, she was working one-to-one with students because she wasn't having that many students to make groups with them. But once she started doing marketing, once she started getting a constant flow of potential clients and actually having more clients, she realized that she actually prefers courses of 3-4 people at the same time. And of course, financial wise, that makes more sense for her, because in spending 2 hours on a Zoom with 4 people, of course, earns her more money than just like working for 2 hours with only one person. But at the same time, she also found that the dynamic was a bit better. So after doing marketing, she was able to properly consolidate her business, also offer different courses, like on top of the general German courses, she was also able to offer small courses like crash courses in conversation or just like different grammar points explained. So she was able to do things she didn't imagine were possible before. Based on my experience, whenever I tell people, okay, maybe you should do a bit more marketing, there are some excuses, some mentions that I hear quite a lot. They maybe say, okay, not now, I'm going to start next year, but the next year it's already here and everything just keeps being postponed. Or they say, okay, I don't have a budget for marketing, and I can totally understand this. But if you don't start now, your competitors are already doing this and you are just losing more in the long run. Or if you are saying, okay, marketing is useless for me, I get most of my clients through word of mouth, then you have to ask yourself, what would happen if 2,000 people would see you teach, would see your teaching techniques and could relate with you online, would you be able to get more clients? The answer is probably going to be yes. Or there are people who say that they tried digital marketing before and there were no results. And this can happen, but marketing is more than just posting on LinkedIn. It's more than just, okay, you have a newsletter, you want people to join your list. How are you actually going to reach your target audience? Who is your target audience? What are you going to say in the newsletter? There are these more technical parts, like the details that actually make a difference. And now let's picture this. Let's say you have 5 students. Each of your students is going to recommend you to a friend. So you're going to have 5 new students. This can be something constant, or it can be, depends, but word of mouth can't really be controlled by you. So you can't really plan so many things in advance. And comparing this scenario with the second scenario, in which you start posting online, you get a couple of followers on your social media accounts, and let's say there are 6,000 people who know about you across all channels. Out of these 6,000 people, maybe there are 1,000 people in your email list. Out of those 1,000 people in your email list, you can automatically get, let's say, 10 clients. Of course, this can be immediately, but with a bit of nurturing, with a bit of engaging with them, you can have this stream of clients. So you get out of those 6,000 followers that you may have, 10 clients in a span of, let's say, 3 months. If you keep on doing the same efforts, then you are going to get 10 other clients, and so on. So marketing is more like a constant. It's more like you are building a machine that keeps on driving and driving and driving. You keep off growing and growing, and you just leverage everything that you have. You leverage your resources, and you just make yourself you just portray yourself as a professional in your industry as you want things to happen. And how can you make this actually true? By having a 360 degrees marketing strategy. Because right now, if you just do some social media, maybe some ads, some newsletters, it does not work anymore, because there are many people out there doing the same things as you. And right now, it's more about making a difference. It's more about leveraging everything that you have and acting in a more integrated way. For example, you do social media, but how do you actually get new clients? Okay, you post online, you gain followers, but what happens after? How do you make them engage with you further? How do you make them talk with you, get to know you a bit better? How do you sell your services? And these are some things that we are going to explore together. The first thing that you have to do is to choose your niche. And I'm not going into that many details, because I think that one of the speakers today is going to talk a bit more about that. I'm just going to talk from a marketing perspective what a niche means. It's a specific, well-defined segment of the market with specific needs, and is going to allow you as a tutor, as a business, to create targeted messages for that audience. So if you're going to say, I help you go from 0 to B1 level in French in 6 months, 1 year, then people who have this need, people who know they need to grow their language level, people who know that they need to grow the language level to move out, for example, to France if they want to speak French, are going to say, that's me. This person is going to help my need, is going to help me satisfy my need, and is going to help me reach my dream. Because the second you portray yourself as a specialist for your target audience, people are not going to question that much your price. They aren't going to make the distinction between you and someone else based on the price, because they are already going to trust you. They are already going to make a mental note to themselves saying, okay, this person is actually the right one for me. Just imagine when you go to a doctor, you would pay a specialist knowing that that specialist is going to solve your issue, is going to solve your problem. And you aren't going to say, oh, it's 10 euros more than my budget, because if you know that your problem is going to get solved, you are going to pay for that and make sure your problem gets solved. And once you chose your niche, you need to create an ideal client profile. ICP would be in marketing. you need to have a customer persona. When you're going to, let's say, close your eyes, you're going to imagine, who is my ideal student going to be? You can, of course, define this ideal student based on your experience, based on your expertise, but also based on the goals that you have. For example, if you want to work with adults, if you want to help adults, for example, learn Spanish because they just moved to Spain, then you are going to think of course, demographics. You're going to think of adults who move to Spain. They can be, let's say, over 30, both men and women. You can define the level of education so that you can tailor your message accordingly. You are going to think of their needs. Their main need is that they are now in Spain. They don't speak Spanish and they have to adapt. They need security. They have a big professional need to, of course, be able to get good results at the job and provide for themselves and for their families. You're going to think of what is their attitude towards the courses, towards your specific services. Are they going to think first, I don't have time for that? If that's something they may think of, then you should tailor your message saying you don't have to waste much of your time, just 2 hours every 3 days are going to make a huge difference for you. Or you're going to show the opportunity cost. What are they actually losing if they don't block 2 hours in their calendar for your courses? And of course, you have to think of what are the decision-making factors for them. This is just an example. From what I heard, you are going to get the presentation at the end, but this is an example of a customer persona in which everything is detailed, the education level, the learning style. You should think of every aspect that may influence the decision of your target audience. Because once you answer all of the questions of your prospect before this person is at the point of deciding whether or not to get your course, then you are way closer to having them as a customer than you were if you just said, oh, just join my course, without explaining to them the results that they may get after, without thinking of their potential questions that they may have about your course. The second step that you need to take is to understand what people actually buy. Because as I was saying, you have to be seen as the solution to someone's problem. One technique that I use in general is to ask why 4 times to understand what people actually buy. Because, okay, someone is going to get a French course, but the first question is, why do they want a French course? Because they maybe want to communicate efficiently in a French-speaking country. And why do they want to do that? Because they need to handle essential tasks like finding a job, building relationship, adapting to the life. And why is this actually important for them? Because they want to feel secure, reduce stress, and just, integrate better in their new environment. And why do they actually want to reduce stress and to be integrated? Because they want to have a fulfilling life where they want to feel at home and they want to feel that they are fully integrated in their new country. And starting from the bottom, you can build your marketing message to highlight exactly the first need that they may have. I think there are some questions in the chat. I think so.
We have one question in the Q&A.
Oh, I saw.
I can read it for you.
Awesome. I saw the question. I'm going to get to the social media side a bit more towards like the end of the presentation, because I can actually talk about a specific case study and how we actually did this for a client. And it took 2 years. Like, social media is not going to, if you want, of course, a proper strategy, you may get lucky to get 6,000 followers in a month. But what I'm talking about is posting regularly, and we actually got to that number in 2 years of posting consistently. So I'm going to talk about that a bit more towards the end. Awesome. So going back to the previous example, what people actually buy, they both, you think they buy a French course, but what they actually buy is confidence, a smoother transition to their new country, and a sense of belonging. And this information is actually going to help you craft your message to sound like you are a solution to their problems. And some examples of how you can build the messages are here. I can help you go from 0 to B1 in German in 6 months to unlock more job opportunities. This is based on the message from a client. Her course is exactly designed to reach B1 level in 6 months in German. So this was, of course, the messages are created based on the course, because marketing is not just promoting yourself. Marketing is also about the product that you have and how you make sure that you don't lie to people, of course. Like you can't say you get B1 in 6 months, but your course is just, for example, to get A2. Or you can say, our English courses give you the confidence you need in business presentations. And we are not the ones saying this, our 100+ students did. This is another message that we use for a different client. You have to portray yourself as being trustworthy and showing proof. Of course, you can't say 100 students if you didn't have 100 students. You can say 10 students or 20 students. Of course, you have to make the number realistic if you and to show proof that this is what you actually do. Or 32% of our community said they had better conversations in French after taking our course. You want to see how? Join us for a demonstration class. And this is like a free trial that you have. Of course, everything has to be planned according to your availability. So after understanding the needs of the audience, you have to make the messages clear, quantifiable, and trustworthy. You have to clarify their doubts and, of course, show proof of what you actually do. And if we're going to the strategy part, I feel like this, maybe you can relate to this, but I'm also saying it based on my experience. I feel like many people, when they start doing marketing, they only focus on the 3% of the people from their audience who would buy on the spot straight from the ad, straight from seeing the post. And many people just focus on this 3% of their target audience. But in reality, your target audience consists of 40% of the total amount of the people. 7% of them are interested to buy, and 30% are interested to buy, but not now. And I was actually surprised to see that for one of my clients, the German client that I've already mentioned, she has students who told her, I started following you 6 months ago, but at that point, I was already taking a German class, and I wanted to see what results I got. But in these 6 months, I have been following you. I am part of your email list. I joined your webinars. I really like the way you explained on social media. And only after I noticed that with the results I don't have right now from the course I'm already taking, I want to make a difference. I want to change something. So I'm going to buy your course now. And she's part of this 30% of the audience that many people are missing out on because they're just focusing on this 3% of the people who just buy on the spot. Because marketing is not only about, okay, selling right now, it's about consistently building and putting stone after stone after stone, so that at the end you have like a wall who's going to leverage and who's going to serve as a foundation for you to build. In terms of channels that you can use to interact with your potential clients, of course, organic social media, you have to choose based on your target audience, right platforms. But one thing I really think you need to take into account is the fact that if you post the same thing on Instagram and on LinkedIn, people react completely differently on these two platforms. So it's best to adapt your content based on the behavior of your target audience. Of course, if you have a video, you can just post it on multiple platforms, but maybe change a bit the caption. Adapt the content according to how people behave on different social media platform. Of course, this can sound like something, okay, it's going to take so much time for you. It can come as a later step, but it's something that you need to take into account and be mindful of the fact that your content can't perform 100%, can't perform at the 100% performance of all on the platforms. It's also very good to have some paid ads, and I'm talking mostly about paid ads on meta platforms like Instagram and Facebook. That's where we saw good results. Organic social media is great, but from my opinion, after testing out different strategies, You also need, if you organize a webinar and you want a boost, you want to reach new audience in a span of 2 weeks, try to set up some ads. When you set up the ads, you can target people based on their age, based on their interest. For example, if you offer English languages, you can choose that interest, English language, business English, American English. There are so many options, and this can be very good for you to reach new people, because of course, if people see your ad and your social media account is very well put together, you have proof of your services. You have very good posts and videos in which you see yourself, in which you are teaching things, and like your content is tailored to your target audience. Then the new people that are going to become your followers are going to be interested in following you. Of course, email marketing, CRM databases, like you can also have an Excel at the very beginning. Just have people targeted into segments, because people that know you from 2 years ago are going to react differently to how people who have just met you are going to react. What I'm trying to say is that if you have right now in your email database people from 2 years ago who didn't engage at all with your newsletters, it means that they are just not interested. So for them, just keep them there. You never know when you are going to become clients. But for the new people that you are going to have in your email list, offer them the information that they may want to know, maybe proof about your services. Maybe they actually want to know more about who you are, what you do, how you teach. And in the breakout room, someone asked about whether or not you need a website. I would say it's good to have a website, and it can take time. So if you want to start, maybe start with a landing page. There are some platforms, including Carrd, CARRD. It's user-friendly, and you can just use it to have a landing page about you, because you are going to be able to detail a bit more who you are, what you do, what your services are, add testimonials, case studies, the social proof that people actually need to be inspired and say, okay, this person can actually help me. Because having social media platforms and accounts, and having them very well put together can be a first step, of course, because people are going to your website, of course, after they see social media or straight from an ad. But the websites, they can work in your favor. And even like a small landing page, as I was saying, can make a difference. Okay, how do you decide which social media is appropriate for clients? You should start asking yourself, after you close your eyes, for example, and you think, okay, who's going to be my ideal student? And maybe you decide you want to teach business English, for example, to business professionals. So I think I can, okay. So I was just looking at the questions. If you decide you want to target business professionals, then you can engage on LinkedIn. But at the same time, I've seen so many people just engage on LinkedIn thinking that their ideal customers are just on LinkedIn, and they're just missing out on people from Instagram and Facebook. You can have, for example, a main platform, as I was saying, LinkedIn, but also don't forget about the other platforms, because you may be surprised to notice that even people working in business, they are on Instagram or on Facebook. And I've seen that from my clients. I have accounts where their Instagram page, and it may sound surprising, they have the audience is composed of people from 35 to 45 years old. This is their main part of the target audience. So you shouldn't just choose a platform, just choose maybe a main one, and then post on the other ones that you think are appropriate. Okay, maybe TikTok wouldn't work very well for business professionals, but maybe Instagram and Facebook can be a solution. What are some strategies to encourage people to engage with your newsletter? Explain to them why your newsletter may be a good solution for them. Because if you just say, join my newsletter, people don't want to be spammed. But if you maybe say, okay, I'm going to offer you advice on how you can learn German, for example, they may be interested. If you send them the first 1-2 newsletters, they are going maybe to scan them. And from the first 1 or 2 newsletters, you have to convince them that it's worth spending their time to read your newsletter. So I would say it's more about posting content that is relevant to them. Some social media tips. When you post, you can divide your content into content pillars. You can, of course, you want to be seen as an expert in your niche. So you can identify key topics of debate or, bring your unique perspective. It can be about explaining grammar points, maybe explaining words that can be easily confused, or maybe answer to to main questions that they may have, such as, oh, how can I actually have the confidence I need to put myself out there and talk in the specific language, or do the specific thing during an event, or just try to put yourself in the shoes of your target audience, or try to look at your students and see what difficulties do they have. Do they have difficulties using different grammar points? Do they have difficulties actually putting the skills into practice? What are their needs? At the same time, apart from just I'm going to get back to Jana's question in a second. At the same time, you want to inspire them and you want to show them actual case studies. It's not just about testimonials, because you can always fake a testimonial. You can always ask ChatGPT to generate testimonials for you. But if you have a video with a student, if you take 10 minutes of your time, and your student takes 10 minutes of their time too, and you have a dialogue in which your student is going to say how your exact services help them reach their goals, how your exact services help them overcome some difficulties, then that is way more accurate. That's something that is way more real than just a small testimonial would be. Of course, you also have to focus on presenting your services, maybe having some unique discount that you can you advertise, let's say for 2 days, because it's Easter time, for example, you can offer a 10% discount on a course. And of course, because sometimes people go on social media for entertainment, so you also want to relate with people and maybe talk in their language. Think of what jokes they would enjoy. Maybe use a tongue twister. Maybe use some idioms. Maybe in a funny way. Try to also get a reaction from them, because if you generate some reactions to them, then they are way more likely to remember you. When they check, okay. So now going to Jonas' question. I understand what you mean, and I'm also a fan of professional events, but I think they represent a small section of your strategy, because if you go to a professional event, even if there are 50 people in the room, you're not going to be able to talk with all of the people at once. But if you post on social media, the target audience that you may reach is way higher. And of course, not everyone who's going to see your post is going to have a reaction from the very beginning. But if you post consistently, the algorithm is going to show them your content 1 or 2 times at the very beginning. And if they have spend at least a couple of seconds on your post, then the algorithm is going to show your content again. And eventually, it's basically up to you, and it's your responsibility to make the content in a way that it's engaging for them, and that is going to make them say, okay, I want to follow this person, and maybe at a later time, they are going to become your clients. Because, okay, social media at the very beginning can't instantly generate clients, but you can use it as a way to, let's say, organize a webinar. You organize a webinar in which you are going to show maybe how, like some tips and tricks to use during professional presentations in a certain language, for example. And you can use social media as a way to reach those target people, that percentage of your target audience, because as I was saying, not 100% of your target audience is going to become your customers. But if you're going to talk to at least the 40% of the people who may be interested, then you are already reaching way more people than you would if you just rely on a professional event. Okay, I think if you have more questions, you can just also continue asking them, or at the end, I'm also going to have 5 minutes of Q&A. Okay, as I was saying, people need a form of connection, especially if you are the image of your business. You have to put yourself out there, because I gave the example of the German client. I actually wanted to share my screen, but I think I'm going to send you a case study at the end. I'm also going to send you an ebook that we with more digital marketing tips, because I'm assuming there's a lot of new information for you. But as I was saying, we reached 6,000 followers in a span of 2 years by posting consistently. Our client, she was just spending, I would say, 3-4 hours a month just recording some videos and reading the content that we generated for her. But of course, at the very beginning, there are going to be some meetings with us so that we can understand who you are, what you actually do, what's the tone of voice that you want to have. Maybe you want to be more professional, maybe you want to be a bit more friendly. This is really, we are going to decide it together. And once we have a foundation, once we have the actual strategy decided, we are going to create content for you. And when it comes to videos, you're going to record the videos, we edit them, you just see them at the end, we publish them, and we are actually the one going to handle everything. You are just going to read reports. Of course, you are going to ask questions to us, have a meeting with us, to do debriefing and look at the results. Because social media can work for you. It's a way to make people see, it's like a window to make people see the inside of your business, but it's also only the top of your marketing process, because how you get the people from up to down to the let's say the conversion side, that's going to be the process of attracting them and generating leads, potential customers. And someone can become a lead once they give you, let's say, their email address, once they do some form of, maybe they send you a DM on Instagram asking, hey, can we schedule a meeting? Can we talk in a way or another? And you also have to focus to think a bit long term. You have to think of, okay, if I want to get 10 clients in a certain period, how many potential clients do I need out of my target audience? Because if you just talk with, right now, if you're talking with 5 potential clients, it doesn't mean that these 5 potential clients are going to actually become your customers. So you have to think of ways to generate these leads and potential clients. You can organize webinars, maybe offer a guidebook, maybe you can create let's say a 5 pages ebook with some tips and tricks that they can use in certain contexts, and then you can set them up in ads. People can download them. You have their contacts. Now you can send them emails, or you can offer limited number of trial classes. Okay, of course, your time is very valuable, and maybe you can say, okay, I have 10 spots this month for people who may be interested to start their English learning process. If you are one of them, if you are really determined, you can sign up for a class. Because people need time and clarity to make a decision. So you have to keep on communicating with them through newsletters, maybe create a WhatsApp community. For a client, we actually have a challenge right now. We advertise the challenge on social media, and now we have in the group chat 50 people who are interested in this fun challenge, in which for 7 days, they are actually going to learn several in each day they're going to learn some new vocabulary. So basically every day is going to have a specific topic, and then at the end there's also going to be some conversations with the people who are the most interested in the group chat. And as I was saying, it's also about sending the right message to people at the right time, because you can't communicate a message to someone who isn't willing to receive it. So if you know someone just joined the webinar, maybe after the webinar, you should, of course, thank them for joining you, but maybe you should also present your offering, because maybe, you know, once they interacted with you, they have questions about your services. So clarify the doubts in the newsletter. Or if they have been, you know, in your database for 2-3 months, maybe send them a case study of someone who's from your target audience, who's in their exact position, wanting to learn something new, but they need more proof that your services actually work. Or maybe they just finish your course, so you should encourage them to make, you know, referrals. You can stimulate the word of mouth. Of course, you're already having word of mouth, but you can also mention that in a newsletter, so that you can, you know, tell them, okay, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate everything. You know, I would also appreciate if you can further recommend me. And as I know that all this information is maybe intimidating, and that marketing can sound like a lot of work, everything is just all about finding what works for you and for your business. I'm also going to, I think I can upload documents in the chat. So I'm also going.
You should be able to, but you can also send them to me directly, because we were going to send all the participants the digital bundle today or tomorrow, and they will get all the materials that speakers provide. So you can send them directly.
Awesome. I will also send it to you, a PDF with tips and tricks that you can use in 2025 to do digital marketing. And I can also help you if you like the session. If you have further questions, you can scan the QR code and we can have a meeting one-to-one together. I can guide you through the exact process and maybe answer your specific questions, because as I was saying, I understand that you may have so many questions right now, and it's part of my mission to help educators and people like you reach their goals online. So for any specific questions, we can always have a meeting and discuss it.
Thank you so much, Teodora. This was very informative, and I see that a lot of people are telling us that it was very interesting. Now seems doable and insightful. I absolutely agree. You broke it down and basically chewed it all for us. Now we just have to digest it. Thank you, Teodora. We also published Teodora's link to LinkedIn. Teodora, if you also want to share maybe your Instagram profile, if you have one, or I don't know, link to a website, you feel free to do that in the comment section as well. Okay, so moving on to the next part of our presentation today of our conference. Now we are moving on to Nina Hanáková. She's going to give us a workshop. This is going to be a bit different because she's built different. Change your financial mindset. So she has over 20 years of experience building successful language studio. She combines language coaching, experimental learning, and she also mentors women who are language teachers to develop their sustainable business. So today, Nina is going to help us explore how financial confidence leads to better clients, more balance, and a business that truly supports us. So over to Nina. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Polina, and thank you so much for inviting me today. I am so excited. And before I share my slides, I'd like to stay here with everybody for a little bit. For those who are here and willing to be on camera, it would be amazing to see you, because this is going to be a little bit more interactive. By the way, Teodora, that was so fantastic. Really well done presentation. Please, everybody, listen to it again or go through the slides again. So amazing. So who else is willing to be on camera? It's okay if you're not, it's fine. But I love to see some new faces and some faces that I know. Hello, ladies, those of you who know me. So, hey everyone, welcome. I'm so excited to be here today. So, let me ask you first, raise your hand if you're on camera or type it, or you can use the reactions here below. Who here feels awkward talking about money? And yeah. Okay. And I mean, primarily to clients, potential clients, yeah, but also sometimes family, friends, when they make comments about your hourly rate, yeah. Oh my God, you must be a millionaire. Awkward, yeah, because we're not, are we? Colleagues as well. Quite awkward, isn't it? Because we teachers don't like talking about money and pricing and charging and actually making money. We teachers love teaching primarily, right? So today, my goal with my little workshop here with you is to help you feel less awkward talking about money. Okay, so that's my goal. I don't know what your goal is. Maybe you can type it in here in the chat. And those who are not typing, let me know who's ready to change their money mindset. Yeah, are you ready? Okay, not really, a bit nervous. Okay. Thanks. Cool. So you've already heard a little bit about me. So you know where I'm coming from. I'm still in the business. I've been freelancing for 20 years. I'm an English teacher, but I also studied other languages, but focusing on English at the moment. And I have a lot of experience with self-worth, pricing, packaging, and also marketing, work-life balance, filling groups, mompreneuring, and all the tricky business parts of being a teacherpreneur. So, and on top of that, I'm a single mom. So I don't just talk about it, I live it. So let's get into it. So hopefully I will be able to share. I'm sharing, Polina, yeah? Awesome.
Yes, you are.
Great. So when I was asked to do this workshop and I had to decide what's the one thing I can help teachers with the most, I knew instantly money mindset, because this is one of the biggest reasons why I went into mentoring teachers in the first place, because I see so many brilliant teachers struggling with this every single day, especially women. And to be honest, I still deal with this sometimes too. But you know what? This is my stance. I don't know about you, but I want to enjoy a nice life, have time for my family and friends, relax, travel, eat well, invest in my business growth. You know, the usual thing. So when fears and doubts creep in, I remember my needs first. I switch on my masculine protector energy and go take care of myself. Because if I am not okay, no one around me is. I have support around me when I need it, and I want to pass that on. So that's why I help teachers daily on LinkedIn. If you're not following me on LinkedIn yet, please follow me. In my Teachers Club, if you want to join my Teachers Club, you can join my Teachers Club, my masterminds, and my annual Language Teachers Festival. I'm going to talk about it a little bit at the end. And of course, online conferences like this one. So let me give you a little pep talk today and guide you through some reflection and visualization time. And if you like what I share with you today, what we do today, I'll tell you later how we can work together. So, why are we still afraid to charge what we are worth? Just like we coach our students to be independent and believe in themselves, we need to apply those same coaching principles to ourselves. to step into our confidence and own our worth. Our pricing is not just a number. It's not just a rate. It's a mirror of our self-worth. This is why money feels so emotional, because we put a price on our work and we're actually putting this way a price on our value, right? And I get it. Even now, every time I raise prices, I feel that little twinge of doubt. Still, 20 years later, it never disappears. I'm sorry to disappoint you. But here's what I've learned every single time I did it, that I raised prices. I got more clients, I got better clients, and I worked less and earned more. And I did it again this year. On January the 1st, I raised my prices by 20%. And guess what? Nothing. Nothing happened. Actually, something happened. I now have even more clients than before. I always do when I raise prices. And I see this happening again and again, not just for me, but also for the teachers that I mentor. So if this works, why do we still fear charging our worth if in reality, charging more very often results in more clients? There's some food for thought. So once again, I'd like to invite you to type in the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about your prices? 1 being practically giving lessons away, and 10 pricing queen or king. Oh, wow. Okay. Mixed. Okay. What's mixed? So most people would probably like to go to a higher number, I suppose. Now let's go deeper. What's one fear that holds you back from raising prices? Again, share it in the comments, in the chat. One fear. The first thing that comes to mind. Rejection, losing clients, other people, competition, losing clients. So see, you are not alone. We've all been personally victimized by our own pricing decisions. We're all in it together. So I suppose these sound familiar to you as well. If I raise prices, I will lose clients. I saw that in the chat. Teachers shouldn't make much money. People will judge me for charging this. I have to work harder to earn more. What will others say about me? That's a big one, isn't it? My competition is better. Yeah, I saw that there as well. And then there's some deeper fears. The not enough fears. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough education, enough certificates. My English or French or German, whatever you're teaching, is not good enough. I just can't raise my prices. I don't deserve this. So what if I told you that you do deserve this? What if I told you that you do have enough experience, that you are already qualified enough? What if I told you that your English or French or English is absolutely good enough? And what if I told you that you can raise your prices? What comes up there? Tell me in the chat. What are your feelings right now? You don't have to, you can just ponder upon it. Okay. Yeah, ESL teaching seems to be in a strange gap. That's why this is my mission to change it. I just need someone to validate you. Dana, darling, I'll validate you when you come to Brno. I know you're coming to Brno. Or I can validate you right now. I'm giving all of you permission to raise your prices if you need to hear it from someone. Someone told me the other day, a teacher, a member of my teachers club, I just felt so good when everybody just confirmed that I am okay doing this. I just needed a permission from someone else. I wonder why we are like that, why we need a permission. We are freelancers. We are our own bosses, ladies and gentlemen. We are the creators of our own life, okay? We don't need a permission from anyone. Okay, thank you. I'll go through the chat a little bit later as well. Now let's go further. We don't really wake up one day and suddenly feel unworthy of charging more, right? These beliefs were planted in us by our experiences, our environment, even our loved ones. I can totally tell when I am creating money blocks for my daughter as I speak. Yeah, I hear myself. So let's take a look at where these money beliefs actually come from. Think back to your childhood. How about this? Money is dirty. Money doesn't grow on trees. You heard that one? Making big money is for men. Teaching isn't a job you do for money. It's a passion. Who has heard that one before? I suppose everyone has heard that one, right? And these messages don't just come from childhood. We are absorbing these limiting beliefs about money from everywhere. So see how sneaky these thoughts are, and we don't even question them. We just take them as facts. And when we don't question them and when we don't challenge them, they show up in our business, in our pricing, and in our fear of charging what we are worth. So then when your potential client says you are too expensive, remember the last time somebody said that to you, you are too expensive. What happened? You immediately start believing that you are too expensive and you are not worth the money that you're asking for. Instead of just understanding that they are informing you about their financial situation, or they can't see the value behind the price. You haven't done a good enough job and you haven't listened to Theodora's presentation properly. And then you also don't invest in yourself and in your business, and you actually consider higher prices of other service providers a ripoff. So that's the situation when we don't value ourselves and our services enough, we don't charge enough, and then we get angry at other people who do, right? You know that feeling? That jealousy feeling? So now I hope you have some pen and paper because I'd like you to get personal. This is not something you put in the chat. This is just for you. I want you to write down for yourself 2 to 3 situations where money has been a problem in your life. Maybe it was a time when you wanted to charge more, but you didn't. Maybe you undervalued yourself in a negotiation. Oh, that's a beautiful notebook, Polina. Maybe you even felt guilty about making money at all. So I'm giving you now 1 minute and start writing a little bit about those situations. If you can't, that's okay. Yeah. Money traumas are absolutely, this is at the core of everything. Money traumas from childhood or even maybe early relationships or even relationships with our early clients. Or I have friends who have trauma from 2 years ago with a client who behaved terribly and they just couldn't deal with it in a healthy way for a while. So this is at the core of everything. I'm just reading through the chat a little bit. Thank you so much for being so open and sharing. This is fantastic. Yeah, long-term clients feel like family. Yeah, we just talked about it in one of my masterminds. Um, Family wants the best for you, don't they? Don't they want you to have a good life? So I believe there can be a very open conversation had, and you can do it. We can talk about it later if you want. Oh, this is wonderful as well. I am so grateful for how my life is so much better than my parents during communism. Love that. Thank you, Anna. Okay, anyone would like to share, is willing to share on camera? Would you like to say something about this little exercise?
I can. I actually typed it in the chat that this thing you said, or the family wants the best for you. This is so mind-blowing for me because I do think about my students and my business partners a lot, that they're like family. We've been together through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do they feel the same about me? That's another question. Do they feel the same about you?
What do you feel inside? What does your intuition tell you?
It does tell me that they probably do, and a lot of the time I make the decision for them. I assume a lot.
Good. Assume the best,
Yes.
and that's how it will go. Right? Anybody else would like to share? Thanks, Polina. Yeah, Dana.
I want to say that 2 years ago, well, last year actually, at the beginning, when I started realizing that after 10 years of teaching, I want to scale up and just become a business owner, not just a teacher, I realized how much more valuable the lessons are than what I was charging for. So one day I got so frustrated that I decided that I'm going to go all in, increasing prices with 40% because I never increased prices. I would increase prices for newcomers, and that felt okay to me, but never for the long-term students, which are like family. And
Yeah.
I remember to this day how I was sitting in the coffee place writing that email and just shaking and just sending it, closing the computer, just going home and let it be, accepting whatever outcome will bring. And I have to say that out of maybe 20 students that I had at that time, only one student left. And it was not even for the fact that I raised the prices. I also a little bit put some boundaries and increased the time for the cancellation policy. And I was so glad that person left because it was really a problem for me. So I have to say that sometimes you just need to take the the bull by the horns and just do it for yourself, right? And as my partner always say, if you don't feel that this is a sustainable business that you are in, then you have to change something to
Yes.
make it so for you.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you.
Can I say it seems like more of us here have good husbands that come with a practical view on things.
Good to hear. That's very, very important who we have around. And yes, I just wanted to comment on families can be very toxic, absolutely. And this is another topic, yeah? When, as I said before at the beginning, when they have comments, snarky comments about you charging this much and how dare you, and yeah, they don't have the same mindset if they're not in the entrepreneurial world. Anyways, let's go on. So thank you so much for sharing. And in the chat, I know we could be here forever for this. I know this is very short, but I just want to give you some hints here, yeah? So I would like us to now start shifting our negative money beliefs. So how do we start shifting? I have three truths from my business for you about pricing. Truth number one, higher price means better clients. Truth number two, you don't get paid for your time, you get paid for your value. And truth number three, raising prices. And thank you, Dana. We didn't speak about this before that you came and confirmed. Raising prices doesn't mean losing clients, hardly ever. So if I could put you in breakout rooms now, let me try this. And ideally we have, let's see how many people. 36. Okay, so breakout rooms of 3. And, oh, they were, okay, recreate. Can I recreate this? And I will need 10 rooms. Okay, here we go. And could you please, for 5 minutes, talk about any of these? What comes up? Just pick one that speaks to you and discuss in your group. So I'm going to open the rooms now. Welcome back from your sessions. Sorry to bring you back. You could talk about it for hours, right? Did you have a good chat? I'm looking at the people with camera on. Wow, more of you now. Thank you so much. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Hi, Bianca. Okay. So anyone would like to share? Raise your hand. Okay, Flaminia.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you all. For us, it was a very interesting chat, and we talked about two main questions, two main facts. So I was personally wondering if for somebody who starts with the business, like starting with high prices is could be a good strategy or not, because on one side it could filter students, and it could filter people that would pay for an added value. But I also think that this value has to be visible, so that there should be a structure from the beginning, a brand, and so on. So I'm questioning if it's a good thing to do it from the very beginning of the project. And the second issue we talked about was the economic situation of a country or a specific during a specific period of time. So where a language course is not like a primary necessity for people, in these cases it's difficult to raise the prices, like considering the economic situation of a country. That's what we mainly talked about, but it was super interesting, and it was super empowering to have this talk about money, because it's true that we never talk about money. And as I said in the chat, the fact that the teaching job itself is not considered a super good remunerated job then gives people the right to offer low salaries. So it's good to talk about it and to let's change this perspective. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And I would normally react to it, but we don't have that much time. But please feel free to get in touch later because this is a very, very interesting issue. And just my view on it, definitely charge higher from the beginning. You will get used to it and you will like by pricing. I always say by pricing, we determine what type of client we work with. Okay, so if you want to work with higher ticket clients from the beginning, you can. Yes, you can. It's totally doable. You just show your value, and most of it at the beginning is through word of mouth anyway. So you just need that one good client. And I'm going to talk about it now. Yeah, this is the upward spiral. Have you talked about some others maybe? Have you talked about higher price means better clients? Okay, so let me comment on it because I'm looking at the time. I would love all of you to discuss and chat, but we are out of time. So I will shortly comment on it from my perspective, yeah? So I believe that the more people pay, the more they value what you offer. Easy as that. It's an upward spiral that nobody really talks about. When you raise your prices, you attract better clients. When you attract better clients, they feel more motivated. Those clients are more motivated, dedicated, and appreciative. And then these clients obviously have better results, and so they are more satisfied. When they are more satisfied, and we go up, yeah, they give you better testimonials, and you thus attract even more dream clients. And it goes like this in your business. Doesn't have to go fast. My motto is slow and steady wins the race. The next one, you don't get paid for your time, you get paid for your value. This is a big one. I think this is the most important one for us. This is the hourly rate thing, yeah? And this is the topic of, do we just teach grammar and vocabulary, or do we actually transform people's lives? We are not selling hours. We are selling transformation, and our expertise, of course, goes along with that, and we are selling results. Do you really believe, this is a big one, do you really believe you should be making the same money as a supermarket cashier? We often do. Language teachers often do. A job that most people can manage with a couple days training. I believe we have more experience and more education and more training than a couple of days, right? And I believe we change people's lives and we should be rewarded appropriately. The last one, raising prices doesn't mean losing clients. I've already spoken about it here. It means attracting the right ones. By pricing, you determine the client you work with. So someone that is used to paying 100 euros for a massage will not even message you if you are pricing your services at 20 euros per hour. If we're talking hourly rate, you know, that by lesson. They will look for somebody who charges more than 100 because it doesn't make sense that a massage should be more expensive than an English lesson, in my view. I don't know about you. So let's do something now. Let's do an exercise. I would like you to close your eyes. Please trust me on this. We will do a bit of a visualization. You can turn your camera off if you don't feel comfortable, people looking at you, having your eyes closed, and we'll take 3 deep breaths. This is always necessary to calm our nervous system, yeah? So first one. Second one. And third one. Now imagine it's Monday morning. You wake up, and instead of stress, you feel calm, confident, and in control. Money flows in. You sip your morning coffee or tea, knowing you are fully booked and well paid. You're not chasing clients. You're not overworking yourself. You are earning what you deserve without guilt. Now, imagine yourself saying your ideal price out loud. It doesn't have to be an hourly rate. It can be a price for your project, for a course. What is the ideal price? Not what you're charging now, but what you would like to charge it. You say it out loud, and the response is always, great, how do I pay? No hesitation, no bargaining, because you own it. That feeling, that's what happens when you step into your worth. That's what happens when you own your pricing. And here is the thing. This isn't just a dream. This is possible for you. Now, take a moment, breathe it in, and when you're ready, open your eyes. So, if you could please, again, share in the chat what emotions came up for you. You can keep them for yourself or you can share. By sharing, you will create this community that feels like we are in it together. So it's always good to share. Peaceful. Okay, relaxing, peaceful. Empowerment. I like that word. Relief. Yes. Thank you for sharing. You can write that down as well next to things you were writing about before. Excited, beginning tomorrow. Yes, Ollie, I like that. What are you going to do tomorrow? Confident. Inner troll showed up. Yeah, but you don't know how to not overwork. And you can quiet them. Hello, nice to see you. I see you. Bye. I know it's not that easy, but you can learn when you practice to say goodbye to negative thoughts and doubts every time they come. Of course, not every time we are successful with that, but it can be learned. Focus. I like that. Yes, focus. And you can do this for yourself anytime after this. Okay? It doesn't happen overnight, does it? It takes practice. It takes rewiring the way we think about money. It takes support as well, surrounding yourself with people who get it. And it takes action. Small steps like deciding, tomorrow I begin. I'm ready to start charging my worth. And the trick is, of course, as always with everything, as we tell our students, you fake it until you make it. So you embody the state of abundance as often as you can. And how do you do that? By counting your blessings, by realizing what you already have, and by affirming that it's okay to have more. Because very often we somehow don't allow ourselves to have more. Tomorrow you will send the emails with new prices. It's been on your list for 3 months. Love that, love that, love that. Wonderful. So I want to help you keep this momentum going. So I've put together something for you. When you scan this QR code and you share your email address with me, I will send you some money affirmations. You can see them here as well, some of them. I will send you some more. I will send you a PDF worksheet to journal and reflect on today's key takeaways and some more free resources that I have lots of them. You know, I've been doing this for quite a while. So everybody managed to get the QR code. I will get back to this slide and you will get it in the bundle as well. Yeah, as Polina said. And if this workshop spoke to you and you don't have to be alone in this. I have this incredible teachers community where we talk about pricing, marketing, boundaries, and confidence. We support each other, share strategies, and we make sure no teacher ever feels stuck again. We talk about money all the time. So you can join us in the club for successful ELT entrepreneurs on the 1st of April, changing to languagepreneurs, doing all the languages, not just English, because we'll be 5 years old. So it's high time. So if you're not teaching English, you can join as well already now. Or you can join us in Brno at the 5th Language Teachers Festival. It's always an amazing weekend. Can't wait to see Bianca, Dana, Kasia, and hopefully some of others. So thank you so much for being here today. Take care. Get those prices up with confidence and get in touch if you need help via LinkedIn. Make sure you download the freebies. Let me go back to the QR code if you need it. Thank you so much. And back to Polina.
Thank you, Nina. That was so emotional and inspirational. Thank you. I think we all feel it. We all feel the connection now. And I think you've built this kind of mutual feeling towards each other here because we're all in the same boat. We're all having the same problems. We're all having the same kind of obstacles in our mind that we need to overcome. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to me now. I am going to talk about teaching entrepreneurship, a path to teaching entrepreneurship. If you have any more questions to Nina, feel free to type them in the Q&A and Nina can write the answers to them there. There is one question to you, Nina, so you can just type the answer.
Yes, I will. And you can also type it in the chat or anywhere on LinkedIn. I will reply. I love when people do it.
Okay, so let's take a look at what we are going to talk about here. I want to go full screen. Give me 1 second. Yes, okay. I think you should all be able to see my screen. Will I be able to see the chat? Yes, I will be able to see the chat. And if you have questions to me throughout this talk, you can also type them in the Q&A box. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today here with me is how do you start being a teacherpreneur? How do you get from point A to point B if you are still just thinking about it? But also I'm going to give some practical advice to people who already have some individual students, who already have some personal practice, and maybe if you already have your own business, you will hear some things that will maybe inspire you as well. And what I'm going to give you today is a very practical, step-by-step kind of guide. So let's take a look. A lot of the things have been mentioned and will be mentioned as well, so I'm not going to dwell on them. Everything we talk about here rotates around the same thing, changing your mindset from I'm just a teacher to I'm a business owner. So what we want to do here today is to claim our business, to claim the fact that we don't just have students, we have customers. We're not just teachers, we're business owners. So let's see what kind of people we have with us today. Can you scan the QR code? Let me also send you the link in the chat if you do not have the opportunity to scan it. So please. Okay, just a second. I will send it in a moment. Where's the chat? There's so many boxes flying around on my screen. Yes. Okay, so you can go there and please take a poll and answer this question. Where are you on your teaching path? Are you just starting? Are you only, do you have a few students? Maybe you only work for a school or an organization and so on. While you are doing that, I'm going to break down what I'm talking about here into 4 steps. First, we're going to talk about understanding independence. What is it for you? Because sometimes it's not for everyone and not everybody has to do it. Then first steps to independence. What are the very first things you do? Some of them have been mentioned. Business foundations. What are 5 things you need to think about when you start your own business as a teacherpreneur? And then finally, competition and growth, which does come in a bit later, but you can start thinking about it straight away. Okay, the QR code is still there on the left, so please scan it. And let's take a look at the results. Okay, so what do we have? We have a lot of people working for a school, for a platform. Maybe have a few personal students, 50%. Okay, exactly 50%. We have some freelancers who work independently, people. Okay, only 10% just work for a school online platform and have no personal students, individual students, okay. And we have a few people who have, yes, both school and private. I think this is the first one. I work for a school and have a few personal students, so that's private students, what is meant. Okay, so it's evening out a bit. It's evening out a bit. We have people who already have their thriving teaching business. I hope what I'm going to talk about will also give you a few ideas, because some things that I'm going to mention may, be something you haven't considered yet. Okay, thank you so much for answering. Let's get back to that talk, to that presentation. Okay, here we are. All right. Okay. So let's do the first thing, understanding independence, what it is and is it for you. First and foremost, I have to say that we live in a world that values high achievers and ambition and success. But the thing is that this is some kind of toxic mindset that we all believe in and we have all bought in. You do not have to achieve great success. You do not have to be ambitious to be happy in life. And what Nina said really resonates with this, because you can imagine yourself being happy. You can think about yourself, oh, I just want to enjoy life. I want to have nice meals. I want to have time for traveling. And if what you do now already gives you that, you do not have to push yourself. You do not have to make yourself go beyond that. It's okay to be where you are if you enjoy it and if it's something that gives you joy in life. Now, a lot of people work for schools, and we are here talking about why you shouldn't do that, basically. But if it's such a bad thing, why do people even do that? So let's take a look at some pros and cons of working for schools and what it means. Obviously, when you work for a platform or work for a school, you will have some regular employment benefits. If you are officially employed, of course, we're not talking about situations when you're not and you're basically a hired slave. So that will be sick leave, regular pay, holiday pay, maternity leave, things like that. Then, of course, you do not have to think about where you're going to get students. The school or the organization takes that pain from you and deals with it. And another thing is that if you're a less experienced teacher, you will have opportunities to get into teaching groups, corporate education. So you can try yourself in different things that might be a bit harder to get into when you are working for yourself and on your own. And obviously there is professional community support, and that's something that is extremely important for everyone, but especially for less experienced teachers. Because there will usually be, in a good organization, there will be teachers' meetings, training sessions. You will have director of studies who provides academic support, and also senior teachers who can share their experience with you. And that's sometimes a bit hard to get, but I'm sure that you have all dealt with this kind of problem because you're all here, so you are already you have that covered. You have the professional community support because this is what we are here. This is what we're doing. All right. So obviously you sacrifice a lot of things working for a school. There are lower wages and it's really hard to negotiate a raise. We're talking about here how to raise your prices. But if somebody else dictates that, you can't really, you don't have much say in how that happens and when that happens, and it's hard to negotiate. Then there is also limited control over work conditions, when you work, how you work, who you work with. You don't get to choose when you go on holiday. Well, you do, but you have to do this a year in advance. So there are a lot of restrictions and limitations towards that, and it can feel suffocating sometimes. And then, of course, if you have worked for a school, if you're working for a school, you will know that there is extra administrative work that is very often uncompensated. So you're not paid for extra hours you have to work. You have to put in like filling in attendance, progress reports. If you work with kids, that means working with parents, talking to them, having meeting with parents, regular things like that, and so on. So those kinds of things can be really hard to do. And reduce flexibility in teaching methods. So schools and organizations, they usually have to offer a quantifiable, fixed kind of experience to clients. So what they sell is a particular course with a fixed time, and they dictate the curriculum that you work with. They often tell you what kind of books you have to use, and there is limited for flexibility and freedom for teachers to be creative and to choose how they do what they do. If you have any of these experiences or more, please share in the chat. Say, like, if you have the same thing, if you've experienced this, or maybe you have a different idea about this. So it may seem that there are more disadvantages than advantages here, but the thing is that these points, it's not just numbers. They all have a different value and a different weight. And this weight will depend on your personal values and your personal experience. If you are a less experienced teacher, having, simplified student acquisition and professional community support can be something that outweighs everything else. If you are a senior teacher, but you don't really want to bother with having your own business and you like the way that like you come in, you do your job, you live, and you don't worry about anything, that can outweigh everything else. So you judge for yourself. If you value freedom, if you want to have financial boost and flexibility and choose who you work with and how you work with them, then obviously starting your own business is for you. Okay, so this is basically a sum up of what kind of person wants to become independent. I hope this is you. Okay, let's move on to first steps to independence. What are the very first things you have to do when you decide to become independent? Let's imagine you don't have any new students yet, but even if you already do have private students, this will help you. So let's think of 4 questions that you need to ask yourself first. And this is something that has been mentioned by Theodora at the beginning as well. First, what aspects of teaching bring you the most satisfaction? This means that it will help you narrow down your offer a bit. I'm not talking about niche. I'm not talking about, very specific thing, but you can't teach everything to everyone. You can't teach kids and adults at the same time. Well, you can, but it's going to be harder. So think, what kind of things bring you most joy? Do you prefer structured education, tests, exams, things like that? And maybe you can do exam preparation. Do you prefer working with business people and business environment? Maybe you can do it to corporate and business English. That's still not a niche. If you like working with kids or teens, you can choose that. And then, of course, what kind of students do you connect with best? That means age group, a kind of professional background, and also levels, because sometimes people can feel more comfortable working with lower levels, and some people, they can feel comfortable working with high levels. I personally prefer high levels because of the vocabulary that can come up and because I don't have to really tone down my English when I speak to them, but it depends on a person. And this will also help you sort of narrow down who your target audience is and what exactly you want to offer them. And then the final 2 questions they go together, they sort of intertwine. what's your minimum viable income and how much time you can dedicate to building your business. So what we can do here is think about your monthly expenses and how much time, how much money you need every month for rent, for groceries, for travel, for emergency funds, for, put away for a holiday, how much money you need to have every month to get by or to live comfortably at least. And then how many hours can you work in a day? Potentially. And then you can sort of like multiply that by how many days you can work in a month and divide the sum by the days. This will give you a target income, so to say. So this is a suggestion for those who don't even know where to start. Like, how do I understand how many students I need, how much I should charge for my lessons? So this will give you an idea just to break these things down into smaller chunks. All right, moving on. You don't have to quit your job immediately, of course. Do not think that you have to go cold turkey, dive into it nose deep. And you can just start getting your individual students a bit and then grow them gradually, and then take less hours, fewer hours with a school organization to work with. And then at some point when you feel confident, when you feel ready, you can completely go independent. Now, there are the first steps that helped me when I started, and these are the advice. This is the advice that I give to people who come to me for support or for help, asking what they do when they want to go independent. So obviously, the first thing is you need to understand what your offer is, who you offer it to, and who you're going to teach. So as I said, it can be exam preparation for teens, business English for professionals, general English for adults. I will say this and will reiterate again, they're not niching down, we're not scaring away some clients. This is just for you to focus on specific people that will help you with marketing, that will help you with customizing your message to your clients and so on. So just get the idea of who you're going to work with, what you're going to offer them. And then, of course, start talking about it to everyone. Word of mouth has been mentioned by Theodora, and I think this is one of the best tools there is. It is unpredictable. It is really hard to understand the numbers of it, if it will work, if it will not work. But it has worked every time when I applied it. So when I have a sister who is also an English teacher, and when she just started, I told her to just tell everyone that she is looking for new students, and she asked her friends to repost she made a post on Instagram. She asked her friends to repost it in her stories. You can also ask your students if you have good communication with them, if you have a good connection, or maybe students you used to work with. You can ask them to write a recommendation or like refer people to you on their social media as well. So just get out there and say, I'm looking for students. Because if you do not do that, how will people know that you're looking for students? How will people know that you're open to new clients? So word of mouth is something that I struggle with. It's what exactly do you struggle with? Could you please type that in? Because is it something that is hard for you to control? It will be impossible to control, of course. But if it's something that is hard for you to ask people to do, then you just need to go and ask people to do that. Okay. Next one is establish your basic online presence. I always say start small, do not go all in. You don't have to have a website straight away. You can choose just one platform that you're comfortable with, but also you can think about where your students may be. It depends on, like, if you work with business professionals, of course, LinkedIn will probably remain the best tool for you to connect with people there. So you can join special groups, you can connect with people from industries that you work with, and you can start commenting on their posts, writing some personal insights, and this will bring them to your page and so attract audience like that. Instagram or Facebook for different audiences as well. And of course, regularly post. So we've talked about posting, we've talked about that with Theodora, so I don't think I need to go into that deeper now. Okay, moving on. You don't have to be a blogger and make TikToks. You don't have to dance on camera. This is not really what you should do. The main thing is giving the message, over to your students and talking about things that matter to you, that you feel comfortable with. There are a lot of things you can post about. There are a lot of things that you can share on social media that will pass over your values and create an image for your students about who you are. So maybe you can share how you're getting ready for your lessons. Maybe you can share some of your students' successes, some funny moments from your practice, some testimonials as well. Of course, testimonials is a tool that is a bit of two ends, because people know that you asked for it, or as Theodora said, testimonial is something that can be faked. So people don't really trust testimonials that much. But what you can do to raise the value of a testimonial is ask your student to write exactly how they helped you. So instead of them saying, "Oh, this is a fantastic teacher, I loved working with her," how exactly did you help this student? Ask them to write, or write it for them and ask them to clarify and confirm. So you can always say, yes, this teacher helped me land my dream job within 3 months. And also, if it's a video testimonial, that's the best thing. One more thing is you can also share your whole success story of a student from start to finish. So when the student started, where were they, where you got, over which time, and how you achieved that. That's also a great thing. Okay, moving on to business foundations. These are the main things you need to consider when you start your business. So these are the things that, as I said, sometimes people overlook. Sometimes they don't know they have to think about it. Sometimes they don't know how to approach it. So these 5 things are: first, contact with the students, the payment, pricing, rules, and legal side. Let's go to the initial contact first. This is how your students will see you and what they will think about you when they first, find you online. So when you get those word of mouth contacts, when you start posting on social media, how do the people see you? So you have to have some sort of like a landing page. It can be just Instagram, but it has to be clean. It has to have all the basic information that people need about you, who you are, what your price is, how to contact you, what kind of things you offer. It can be highlights, for example, that are very clearly established. Or it can be a link tree, for example, with specific links to, I don't know, your website, or a way to contact you. And then what I also recommend is having some sort of like an easy way to have a call with you, maybe a discovery call. Calendly is an interesting tool for that. Of course, it's one of the many tools you can use, but I like Calendly because you can determine which hours you're available during the week, and people can just go there and book a call with you if they want. So it's an easy way to find that. I don't really like doing simply discovery calls. I prefer doing introductory lessons where we have a little bit of a lesson so students can get a taste of what kind of things I offer, what kind of things I do. And I believe that teaching should be unpaid. So a lot of people say, well, should this be free? Should I charge for this? I give a discount for this so people don't feel intimidated maybe, but I don't like giving away freebies straight away, because to me this establishes a different kind of relationship with the person. When I charge for an introductory lesson, the person understands straight away that I value my time and I value my work, and I think that my work is worth money. So that's something I do. The next thing is payment. How exactly are your students going to pay you? And what is a comfortable way for them to do this? You can use platforms like PayPal or Wise, but they will have different fees and regulations depending on your country. It can be a direct bank transfer. So think of if it's possible for you to create payment links for your students. So you send them the link, they go there, and they simply pay from there, so they don't have to think about that. And also document all payments for tax purposes as well. And now pricing. We've talked about pricing. Nina did a fantastic workshop. I'm still reverberating from that here. Obviously, when you don't know how much you need to mean, if of course, if you don't know how much exactly you should charge at all, like I have no idea how much I should charge for an hour, we're just starting, right? How much should I charge? You can do a market research, see how much a person of a similar kind of situation as you, an independent teacher in your area, charges. You can find a fair average and feel how that resonates with you, and you can, get a higher price and so on. But what I also like to do is do not go for hour to hour, because when you do that, when does your student pay you? Before the lesson or after the lesson? What if they forget? Do you remind them to do that? So I recommend offering discounted packages. Rachael Roberts, I think, is going to talk more about that. So I'm just giving a very brief overview of this. Yes, charge based on your needs, the bills you have to pay. Yes, as I said, your viable monthly income, you have to have a target income that also includes all of your expenses, your bills, your needs, and your funds and so on. And don't forget to include there all the subscriptions that you have that you pay for, like Zoom, if you use a platform. So this all has to be incorporated, things like that. Okay, and then what I say is start with packages straight away. Do not sell individual lessons, sell packages. You can offer a discounted rate for a package, but more on that later. Now, another thing that took me years to learn, and I don't know if you have that, so I'm going to talk about it now, and please share in the comments if you do that, if you have this kind of policy, or if you do differently. I'm really interested in learning how other people do that. So, what I do is I create a certain agreement with a student at the very beginning when we start working that both my student and I sign. It does not really have a legal binding, but it creates a sort of agreement and commitment from both sides there. And what I include is this, is, what kind of teaching I'm going to do, what kind of offer I'm giving my student, what kind of things I'm promising them from my side. So I'm going to, when can I reply to messages and what am I going to reply to? When can they contact me outside of, just lessons? How many lessons we agreed upon, for example, though that's subject to change, but still. When am I going to check their homework, send them feedback, and how I'm going to do that? And other things like that. Now, cancellation policy. This is why the whole agreement is even for, because I used to have a student who would cancel 10 minutes before the lesson, 20 minutes before the lesson without fair warning. And because we didn't have that established straight away, I felt guilty to ask them to pay. Not guilty, I felt sort of like uncomfortable to ask them to pay for their lesson. Well, I didn't teach it. We didn't agree upon any kind of policies before, and after that, I had sort of like I told them that, well, you can cancel, at least 4 hours in advance. And then they did, 5 hours in advance or 3 hours in advance. And I sometimes was lax with them. So this has to be established straight away, and it has to be a strict rule that both of you adhere to. You cannot be lax here at all, because if you are lax once, then it's going to be expected from you ever since. So what I do is 24 hours before the lesson, or they have to pay 100% penalty for the lesson. So the students, they know that, and they don't even ask questions. When they cancel a lesson, they pay for it, or if it's a bundle, then they know that this is going to be the lesson is going to be used up in the bundle. I do have a standard contract with wording. This covers these points, and I can share with you later. I can send you the link to a draft of such contract if you want to. Okay, then your own rescheduling policy. You have to also show that you adhere to the same rules. So when can you cancel, and what will happen when you need to cancel? Like, how will that work with you? And I realize that I've completely run out of time almost, but let me very briefly go through that. Rachael, can you please forgive me for taking up a bit of your time? I need maybe 5 more minutes at least. Okay, then lesson package conditions. Maybe Rachel will talk about that as well, but lesson package conditions are basically like how much time do you need? Like, do you have to use them within a certain amount of time? Or, because a student can disappear for a year and a half and then come back and say, I have 3 lessons on my package, when can we do them? So you don't want that to happen, right? And so on. Okay, move on the legal side. Research that what are the legal local business regulations? Do you have to register as a private entrepreneur, individual entrepreneur? Do you have to register as a self-employed person? What kind of regulations are there? Are there any tax regulations that you will need to pay taxes? And one more thing that sometimes people don't even know about is that there are a lot of governments will have certain programs that support smaller businesses or individuals. And you can, for example, pay a little sum of money every month that goes to your holiday fund or maternity fund, and then the government will overcompensate you for that. So they will use that fund and they will give you more back when you have to take a holiday leave or a sick leave or a maternity leave. So those kinds of things. So if you need, you can get consultation with a local kind of like accountant or a legal advisor to understand those things. So do not ignore these things, because when you want to scale and when you want to grow, this will come, as a problem for you. And then finally, talking about competition and growth, what I always say is to stand out from the crowd, you have to understand the current market and you have to develop yourself as a person, and you need to understand what the current needs are. So the main thing, what I'm saying here is that the student today is different from the student 6 or 10 years ago. Students are becoming different and they come to you with different requests and different needs. If in the past I saw students, most of the students who came, they were happy to just move from level to level gradually, study from year to year. They were okay with that. More and more students today are different. They come with you with a specific need, with a specific pain that they want you to solve. And they have a limited time to do that. So there will be 3 months for them to prepare for an interview, 3 months for them to prepare for a conference, 3 months for them to get enrolled into university, maybe a year for them to get enrolled into a conference. So you need to understand that students, they do not need course books anymore. They do not need those lengthy curriculums moving from level to level. What they need is a personalized approach, and what they need is for you to solve that problem. So when you understand that problem, when you address it, they will come back for more solutions to you, because problems will always come up, and they will recommend you to their colleagues who have similar things. So what I say, you have to use modern platforms as well, because a modern student, is absolutely spoiled with interactivity. Duolingo is there, and you all know what Duolingo is. It has absolutely no benefit to anybody. Why do people coming back to it? Because it's interactive, because it's gamified, because it's fun, and for many other reasons. But one of the things that it has taught students is that learning can be fun and it can be clicking buttons. So if you do not do that, if you send a PDF to your student, for example, they will choose somebody else over you, because they will get bored with it. They have very short attention spans now. They have TikToks. So Amazy, for example, is one thing that really helps you conquer that and navigate that. So you can create really interactive exercises where students can click and they can interact with it and they can check it straight away. And you as a teacher do not even have to check homework, because it's checked for you there. And also you can customize these materials. You can reset the answers completely. And that's what I always do with my students. Sometimes they ask me to go back to their old lessons and can I do this again? And I just go back to their lesson and I resettle their answers and I go through it again as a revision practice at home on their own time. So that's something that I always recommend people to do. Find a platform that works for you, that is interactive, that has all the advantages. Amazy is one of those platforms. I don't know any other platform like that, honestly. It is an all-in-one thing. And one more thing is that Amazy can work for you as a brand building tool, because if you publish lessons that you have created, that tailor-made courses you've created, you can make them public there. You can have your own profile there. And you can showcase this to your potential employers if you want to, or your potential students. You can have a link to this, and people can sample the kind of materials you're going to use, the kind of tailor-made courses you create, and they can sample it and they can see what kind of things you offer, and this can help them make this educated choice about you. Okay, and one final thing I'm going to say, I don't have more time for anything else. Please do not compare yourself to others. Do not think that, oh, another teacher has more than I, another person is more successful than I, they have more students, they have courses, they are way ahead of me. You're comparing your start to somebody else's mid journey, or somebody else's finish. You can't do that. You can only compare yourself to yourself yesterday, to yourself 10 years ago, to yourself 5 years ago. Focus on your own growth and focus on, where you're heading and where you were yesterday. And this will help you feel better about yourself. All right, let's see. I don't have time for this, unfortunately. Let's say if we have any questions, you can also scan this QR code for my LinkedIn, and let me take a look at the chat and the questions if we have any. To have one question: is there a standard contract with wording that covers these points? It can be different for anybody, again, depending. I can share with you a link to my draft that I use, and I will share it with the chat just in a moment. Okay, about competing with apps in terms of clicking and interacting with passive content feels like a no. I don't even want to play that game at all. No, I understand what you feel. I absolutely understand what you feel. We're not creating sort of like a distraction for students there, but it's something that they come to expect, and this is something you have to compete with. So it's leveraging, the package and the content. These apps just have a package, but you have to deliver the content as well. And on Amazy, for example, it's not just clicking. You can't just do that. You can, but it can be self-study, it can be homework. And I've noticed that it gives my students a lot of motivation and autonomy. I see my students go and do their homework, do practice. They ask for me to give them the extra exercises because they enjoy doing it. So it really works. Okay, thank you so much for listening. If you have more questions, type them in the Q&A box, please. And I am going to pass this over to Rachel. Let me see. Yes, this is the main presentation. This is Rachel. So Rachel is going to talk about how to earn more with value-based pricing. So she works with freelance language teaching professionals to fully monetize their skills and experience. And she has a fantastic deep dive program designed to flourish. So you can check it out a bit later. I'm sure Rachel will share a link and explain what it is. So today she's going to talk about breaking free from hourly rate trap and how to create value-driven packages that not only attract more students, but also deliver better results. So I'm happy how this is all, one thing floating to the next, one thing adding to the next. So over to you, Rachel.
Absolutely, yes, thank you. So let me just set up my screen share. Okay. Okay, how's that? Can everybody see that? Okay. Let me have a quick look in the comments. Yes, great. Hi, Ollie. Hi, Joanna. Lovely. Okay, so yeah, I agree totally. I think that all the sessions today have been very complementary because we're kind of talking about the same thing from different angles. And what I want to talk about in my session is just really like one kind of small slice of like this bigger picture that I think we've been talking about in other sessions. But I think it's such an important slice because I think that this is something that people often don't really get because we've, I think it's kind of normal when you start going freelance, finding your own students, that you kind of follow the established pattern of how you should do that. And, you've probably worked in a language school, or maybe you've worked online for somebody else, and there's a very kind of set way of doing it. But the great advantage, I think, of the way that everything has gone so much online is that actually we can do things differently.
Rachel.
And so I'm kind of hoping to maybe slightly blow your mind to see, you know, how you can actually approach things differently and the impact that that can have. Yeah, sorry, can you not hear me or anything?
No, we can. You're sharing your whole screen. Can you share just the presentation, because we can't see all of it? Like we
right,
see ourselves.
okay, thank you for that.
Just click on the
There
window.
we go. Good, I'm glad you told me.
Yeah,
before I started even using my slides, so that's good. Yeah, so as I'm saying, I'm hoping that this is kind of going to help you to see a different approach, if you like, from perhaps what a lot of people assume that they have to do. So I've called it Stop Selling Your Time, Start Selling Results, How to Earn More with Value-Based Pricing. So I want to show you what I mean by that and about how I can help you break free from that hourly trap. I had a lovely introduction there from Polina, but in case you don't know me, my name is Rachael Roberts, and I'm a business and mindset coach for ELT and other language teaching freelance professionals, including teacher trainers. And yes, my main offer is my 6-month deep dive, fully supported, hands-on group program where I can take you through all the things that we've been talking about today. But for now, let's focus on this, what I call the hourly rate trap. And I think so many teachers fall into this, as I said, because we just kind of assume that this is what we should be doing. I know, you know, I certainly, when I first started teaching freelance, I was teaching on an hourly rate. But if you're charging by the hour, then you are immediately limited by the number of contact hours that you can do. And so you find yourself thinking, well, if I want to earn more money, I have to have more hours of teaching. And I don't know about you, but I am long past the stage where I even want to do 24 or 25 contact hours a week, never mind 40 or 50, which is something that I see all too often. There is a limit to how many hours you're going to want to teach. And also, even when you're a really experienced teacher and you are able to go in and just kind of wing it, as they say, it's not going to be as satisfying or as effective as if you have a smaller number of clients that you can really help at a deeper level. And so it's not necessarily very satisfying, as well as somewhat exhausting. So you might then think, okay, there's only so many hours in the day. I want to earn more. I don't want to do more contact hours, so I need to raise my hourly rates. And I'm not against that. You know, I think absolutely most teachers are not charging enough. I'm completely with Nina on this one. And I do see a lot of teachers who believe that they can't charge more, who are saying things like, oh, well, you know, market pressures and there's lots of competition. And actually, I would say probably more than 9 out of 10 times, they absolutely can, with the right positioning and the right marketing, or indeed with the right business model, because it may be that what they're attempting to do isn't a good fit with the clients that they're attempting to take on. However, if you just decide to put up your hourly rate, as many of you were discussing in Nina's session, you will get pushback. Because it's quite hard, I think, for individual clients to always see the value in a higher hourly rate, because they're going to be comparing it to what they're being paid, for starters, and they won't be taking into account the fact that they get sick pay and holiday pay and pension contributions, and that their tax is, perhaps already taken off the top. They won't be taking into account the fact that a lot of their paid hours are actually spent speaking to their mates at the water cooler or staring into space, not intensive teaching and coaching online like you're doing. And they won't be taking into account that you're almost certainly doing more for them than just turning up for that hour. You're probably spending time preparing, you're giving them feedback, and then there's the admin as well. And so you can find yourself kind of feeling almost that you have to explain this to them and justify it, and like, but you should be willing to pay more because, you know, I'm worth more. And yes, you are, but that's not the point. All right. The point is that you need to move away from the whole idea of selling an hour of your time towards selling the result, as Polina mentioned. I think as was also mentioned by Theodora at the beginning. So one way of looking at it is, you know, imagine that your car has broken down. Which of these would you choose? You can pop that in the chat if you like. Would you choose mechanic A, who only charges £40 an hour and spends 5 hours trying to diagnose it and fix it? Or mechanic B, who immediately identifies the problem, fixes it in 30 minutes and charges £300? See how good your mental arithmetic is here. It's probably better than mine. It's looking to see. Okay, yes. So Deedin says, obviously the total package is best. Yes, all right. Because although it's more expensive, what we want is for our car to be working again. And so we're not going to be breaking that down into, hang on a minute, you're actually charging £600 an hour. Oh my God, that's so expensive. We're going to be thinking, great, it got sorted quickly, so I didn't have to hang around. So this is kind of what's behind what I'm talking about here. It's a pretty easy choice. And, you know, fundamentally, your clients may well be used to the idea of paying teachers by the hour. And that is something that you have to overcome. And you may be used to that idea. But fundamentally, they don't want your time. They're not interested in your time. What they want is the transformation that you can provide for them. And, you know, we've talked about this quite a few times, I think, in the sessions today, but it cannot be said enough because it is so important. We need to focus on what it is that we're helping people to do. And this is where, if you're not clear about that, then it's very hard for people to buy into what you're doing. And I'd say, you know, the question that I get asked probably the most often, certainly by people who, you know, are perhaps a little bit further along and they're aware that they need to do marketing and so on, is, well, but how do I show the value of what it is that I'm providing? Because it isn't just about going on social media and going, I'm really brilliant, all right? Or even having testimonials that say, she's really brilliant, right? That is not a bad thing to do, but it's not enough, because people need to see, what exactly are you going to help me to do? And it needs to be something that they really want, basically. So, you know, how can we show the potential clients the value and the transformation that we provide? And, you know, this isn't, as I mentioned just now, this isn't about, you know, what your personal value is. This is about the value of what you help those clients achieve. So let me show you an example. All right. So here are 6 headlines that I took off LinkedIn when I was preparing this session. So they're genuine headlines. All of these people are helping similar, probably, people to become more confident in English. And I'm not by any means kind of being critical of any of these people. They are right that confidence is what a lot of students want. However, if you have a look at these headlines, how do you know which person you should pick? So, you know, imagine that you are somebody who works for a big international company. Maybe you work in the HR department, and you know that you need to go into meetings and use English more confidently than you are at the moment, because at the moment you find yourself not saying anything, not speaking up, and it's starting to impact your confidence overall, and people are kind of passing you by and talking to other people instead of you. So this is your problem. And you see all of these, and how does that tell you who you should pick? It basically doesn't, right? Some are better than others. And what by better, I mean that they're more specific. So the ones that I think are a bit more specific. So the first one is more specific in terms of the methodology, because this teacher is working in a brain-friendly way. But we've got to know what that means. And we've got to know that that is actually going to help us. So that isn't necessarily going to help them know to pick that unless they've already been following that person and they really understand what that means and how it's different. The third one, ambitious business leaders. Okay, so now we kind of know, well, do I consider myself to be an ambitious business leader or not? So that can give us some clue as well. So I'm kind of being a bit unfair, because obviously your marketing is not just your LinkedIn headline. But can you see what I'm saying? That, it's very hard for our potential clients to know whether we're a good fit when they don't really understand how it is that we're going to transform things for them. And so that's what our marketing needs to be about. But it also needs to be reflected in what we're actually doing, or our offer. And that's really what I'm wanting to talk about today. Though there's plenty to say about marketing as well, believe me. So the first place that you need to start off with, and it's been mentioned a few times, is niche. And I go on about niche a lot because I do think it's absolutely fundamental. You need to be really, really clear about who do you help, with what, how do you do it, and why should they care? Right? What is it about you and your approach that is actually important for them that they should care about? And so when I talk about niche, I'm not just talking about things like IELTS students or business people or even HR managers. I'm talking about something that goes much deeper than that. If you think about it like a sort of iceberg, the top of it might be HR managers, but underneath are going to be all the things about what are their hopes and dreams and fears, what's tripping them up at the moment, what are they sitting talking to their partner about in the evening, what have they tried before that didn't work, why didn't it work, what's getting in their way. And all of those things need to be really clear, because until you know that, you're not going to know what to say to them in your marketing that's actually going to hit home. So this is kind of like the first step. And that's the first part of demonstrating value. Because if you know what it is that they really want, then it's much easier for you to show them why it's worth paying for you in order to get that. Okay, so I've talked a bit then so far about why I think that we need to shift kind of our view. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more depth about how you go about doing that, because I think, again, this is not necessarily really obvious. Now, I have to tell you that I usually spend at least a couple of months with people working on this, and we've probably got about 15 minutes. But hopefully we'll be able to do enough for you to understand kind of how it works, and then you can think about how you could apply that to your situation and your business. So 3 practical steps then to shift from hourly to value-based pricing. So first one is create a package rather than selling hourly lessons. So broadly speaking, what I mean by that is, instead of saying we'll have an hour a week at 30 euros an hour, for an unspecified length of time. You say something more like, we'll have a 3-month program at €500, which aims at a specific result that you know that this specific type of client really wants, right? And that sounds quite simple, right? But it's not necessarily that simple, because what goes into this package is the key to helping people see the value in what you offer. Because if you think about this, you know, to use another metaphor, if you want to renovate your house, for example, you have different options. So you have the option of hiring an architect or an interior designer, and that person will come in and they will have a vision. They will talk to you about what it is that you really want, how you can make your house work better for you, what, you know, what's getting in the way at the moment, like the fact that you can't get to the sink easily from the cooker, etc. And they will then create a design for you, and they won't charge you by the hour. They will charge you for the whole package of doing that. Or you can put, you know, look through the small ads in your local Facebook group and find somebody who is a kind of a handyman or a handy person, perhaps we should say, and they will come in and they will do things for you on an hourly rate. And both of those people might be appropriate in different situations, but you want to be the architect. Yeah, stop charging by the hour. Mind you, they're probably charging a lot by the hour, but you want to be the architect and not the odd job man, right? Because you want them to see that vision. And the thing about the odd job man is that you probably won't go for that if you have any sort of ambition, if you like, for your house to be amazing. You'll probably go for that if you just want a quick, cheap solution to something that you kind of feel you've already got the answer for. And so you don't want to be in that position, because immediately you're putting yourself in a position where they're going to compare you with other handymen and see which is the cheapest, essentially. You want to be in the position of, oh my God, I've heard about this amazing architect or interior designer. You've got to use them. They're incredible. Right? So it's about positioning. So our package is super important. Now, let me tell you what I don't mean by a package. Okay, so I don't mean this. I would actually call this, more of a bundle than a package. So when you see things like, you can have, this is my price for 60 minutes, but you can have 10 of these for the price of 8, you're still charging by the hour. You're just charging less. So this is not about the value that you provide. This is about the cost and the price. And you want to move away from being judged on cost and price, because I can tell you, you aren't going to win this one, because they can find, nowadays, students can find people to teach them for $3 or $4 an hour. So you're never going to be able to compete on price. So you have to compete on the value that you offer. So I don't mean that. I also don't mean this, which is something I sometimes see people talking about in terms of packages, which is, let's make it look really, really good value by putting in absolutely everything that I can think of. Oh, I've got those worksheets that I made 10 years ago. Right, they can have those as well. Let's shove in as much value as possible. And the problem with that is that, again, you're making the mistake of assuming that value is about quantity. It's about how many hours of your time they have. It's about how many worksheets you give them. It's about, whatever. It's not, all right? Busted, says Joanna. Yeah. It's not about quantity. It's about the results that you get. And in fact, if you put too much into your package, and, I can be a bit guilty of this, because this is, I think, one element of a money mindset thing as well, actually, going back to Nina's thing. very often we have this idea of, I want to provide lots of value, and that means I've got to give people lots and lots of things. But actually that can be overwhelming and have the opposite effect, because people can just feel, oh, you know, there's just too much. I can't do it. I haven't got time. I don't have time for homework. And therefore you don't get the result that you want. So I've said two things that it isn't. All right. I'm going to say this again. It's the same slide. Right. They don't want more content. They don't want more of your time. They want the transformation. So this is what we've got to focus on. Right. What is it that they specifically want? And this is why niche is so important. So there are three questions that you need to ask yourself when you're creating your package. And the first one is, of course, what are the specific results that they want? And, you know, you can just take a minute to think about that if you like. But if you're thinking about things like they want to be more confident in English, or they want to be more fluent, or they want to speak better English, you need to dig deeper. And I'm not saying that those things aren't important. Of course they are. But they're not specific enough, because everybody wants that. And every teacher will say that that's what they give them. So you need to dig into that more. And I'll show you some examples of what that might mean in a minute. The second question is, okay, what exactly do they need to do in order to get those specific results? And this is where, you know, your experience as a teacher comes in. Because you know, particularly if your niche is like a group of people that you've worked with before and that you have experience with, you know what it is that will take them from point A to point B. But you might never have thought about it in quite that way before, because you've been in the mindset of, I'm going to do a needs analysis with you, and then I'm going to provide you with exactly what you want. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, from the point of view of methodology, but it's a very hard sell, because you're basically saying, well, I don't know yet what you want, but trust me, I'm going to find out. All right. That's quite a hard sell. Whereas if you can say, actually, I've worked with lots of clients like you before, and I kind of know what you need, and they're going, oh, you're right. Yes, I do need that. Oh, and I do need that. That's a much stronger proposition. And then the third thing you need to think about is, well, what could get in the way of them achieving that? And how does your approach, your methodology, help them to overcome that specifically? So let me show you an example. Okay, so let's say that we have this client who says, right, what I want is to be able to speak up more confidently in meetings. So that's much more specific, isn't it? So then you can think as an experienced teacher, well, what does that mean? What exactly would I do with that client to help them with that goal? And this is just a few examples. I think there's a lot more, obviously. But the things I came up with, okay, one of the things they probably need to learn is how to interrupt appropriately, particularly if they're working in contexts where there are different nationalities, because the rules culturally are quite different. But you could teach them some useful turn-taking phrases. You could give them practice in role-playing scenarios. So you're probably doing this kind of thing, but you're not necessarily consciously putting it into your package. You might focus on intonation, depending upon, where they're from and how closely their intonation matches kind of English intonation. If they're working with native English speakers, for example, they might not be. Again, this is very specific. So you might focus on that kind of polite intonation to disagree, so they feel more confident about disagreeing, that they're not going to annoy someone. You might have some specific methods that you use. So, for example, I think one thing that can be quite useful in terms of focusing on intonation and pausing is to get them shadowing speaker. So listening to how a confident, authoritative speaker would say something and repeating it a lot. And this is something you could do in class, but it's also something they could be doing outside class. You might get them practicing creating and delivering 1-minute pitches. So these are just a few ideas, but you should be able to come up with like a whole load of these kinds of ideas based on your experience and your knowledge of that specific niche. And then what can get in their way? Well, it could be about their self-confidence and not wanting to make a mistake. It could be about their previous learning experience. Maybe they're mostly used to very passive learning where they just kind of don't speak, but they just sort of imbibe more vocabulary. It could be that they have a lot of cancelled lessons because of the way they work. So you kind of work out, you know, what are their problems? And if you have this specific niche, they're probably quite similar across the board, both their needs and their problems. And this is how you can start to decide what goes into your package. So if you're teaching loads of different students and you don't have a specific niche, of course you can still do this, you know, and this is what Megan's saying in the comments, but that's an awful lot of work for you, because if you're doing that for every individual client, that's going to take up a lot of energy and headspace and time. Whereas if you have a niche of clients with similar needs, then a lot of this you won't have to reinvent the wheel, and then you can give them, you know, the specialized individual stuff on top. Okay, so step 2 then is thinking about how within that package we can add value for them without adding more time and energy for us. So the first way we do that is, of course, through having that clear niche and them having quite a lot of needs in common, if you like. But we can also think about how we can reduce the contact time but still get them the good results. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning. We don't need to sort of use that old paradigm of, we have, you know, I think it comes from language schools, really. You know, you have a lesson once or twice a week for a year or 2 years or 3 years. It doesn't necessarily have to be done that way at all, because we've got access now to so many useful tools. We could teach online, obviously. So what can we do? So one thing we could do is to add in a group element. And when people are thinking about how they can earn more while working less, the first thing that often comes to their mind is to have groups. And absolutely nothing wrong with that. It is harder if you're just starting out, if you go for groups right from the off, because obviously, you know, Theodora was talking at the beginning about sort of the idea of a funnel. You know, if you have X number of followers, how many clients is that going to turn into? So it's often easier, in my experience, to start with one-to-one, but you could quite quickly introduce some kind of group element. And instead of seeing this as this is a way to make things cheaper, you can see it as this is actually something that people need. So let's take our guide that wants to be more confident in meetings. Just working with you one-to-one is not going to be as helpful for him as having the opportunity to be in a group setting. So if you can provide some of the time, maybe not all the time, because he also needs one-to-one help perhaps, but some of the time a group where all those people who struggle with meetings can actually practice in a group setting, that's better. That's better value. But it's also better for you because you're using your time more efficiently. So you might be totally thinking about groups for the whole of your package, and that would be fine too. Or you might be thinking about a combination. And how do you decide which to do? Well, what does your client need? What does your ideal client niche need? That's the starting point in order to get them that result. Okay, what else could you do? You could And this is something that I work on quite a lot with clients, because we have all this technology now, as I mentioned. So we can get our students to be more independent and to stop seeing their English learning as being an hour a week with us, or even 2 hours a week with us, and to see it as more of an ongoing thing. And it can be very small things. I mean, Polina mentioned Duolingo. One of the big draws to Duolingo, I think, is that you can do something in 5 to 10 minutes. And people like that. But we can do better than what Duolingo is doing, because we can do something that's actually really tailored to what they really need, as opposed to, you know, the cow is standing next to the ice cream cart or whatever it is. All right. So what are some of the things that we can do? Well, you know, I mentioned like shadowing. So we could get them to do drilling on their own, and then they could send us like a little voice note with the practice that they've been doing. They could record what they sounded like at the beginning of the week, what they sound like at the end of the week. We could create self-paced video lessons for them with interactive tasks, which, you know, if there's some things that you keep teaching again and again and again and again, maybe it's better to flip that and to have them to watch that first and then get the practice with you. You could do something, I'm thinking about, you know, our guy who likes meetings. You could have meeting preparation templates. So before they go into a meeting, they prepare some of the things they want to say, you know, and how they're going to say it. You could give them guided speaking challenges using something like Voxer or WhatsApp or Loom, where you give them a topic and then they have to talk about it for a minute, like the 1 minute pitch, for example, and they send that to you. So, you know, the possibilities are endless, basically. So Polina's saying I always use voice recorder on Amazy. Yeah, so there is that option on Amazy. I know it's one of the things that looks very good about it. If they're doing these kinds of things, they're going to be making faster progress than if they're just having an hour a week with you. But maybe you can either reduce the amount of time, maybe you do 30 minutes with them live, or you can charge more because it's more intensive and they're going to get results faster. And that leads me then to the third step, which is pricing with confidence. So if you know exactly what your ideal client really wants, then you know that this is something that's valuable to them and that they're going to be willing to invest in. And then you don't have to start justifying your rate, because if they want this thing and they believe that you can help them get it and that they can afford it, they'll be in. And then you can feel quite comfortable, insofar as, you know, any educators ever feel comfortable about charging money. You can feel pretty comfortable because you know the value of what it is that you're giving. You know you can help them get this result because you've got a process, you've done it before. So, you know, so these are the 3 steps. Then you create a package, you put the right things in that package, you price it according to the outcome and the value, not sort of necessarily what you're worth because you're priceless, but what that result or transformation is worth to you. Okay, so whistle stop tour, I know, but let me know in the chat. So what are your key takeaways from that? That's what I'd like first of all. And then I think, no, we probably don't have time for questions because I think I've gone over as well now, haven't I?
No, you have full permission. We are coming to an end, yes.
All right, I'll just put that up there. So, but I'm very happy to, so if there are any questions, then we've got time, I'll answer them, or you can ask me on LinkedIn or what have you.
Yeah, we do have one question, Rachel, about adding a group element with the price less.
Right, let me have a look. So, great. Yeah, so I mean, I think so. Just for the recording, because obviously you can't read this. So Joanna says about adding a group element with the priceless added benefit of clients supporting each other. How can you set that up so that they start or stop working with you at different moments, so there may or may not be that much of an overlap? So I think it you know, again, it's about what works for your package. There are lots of different ways of doing it. So you might have like a community, for example, that people could come into even before they start working with you and could stay in once they've finished working with you. And maybe that's part of your offer. So, you know, if they're working with you directly, perhaps they get that free, whereas otherwise they would be paying for it. Like that might be one approach, for example. There are really so many different ways, I think, that you can slice the sausage. I just wanted to say, yeah, I mean, I mentioned Design to Flourish at the beginning. If that's something that's of interest to you, have a look on my website, Earn, Learn, Thrive in ELT. But I'm also running a free 4-day festival of freelancing on how to stand out in a crowded market, 10th to 13th of March. And Polina's going to be one of the speakers. So I haven't announced it yet. It's being announced from tomorrow, but you can check it out early there as well. And I feel like I should stop talking because
Thank you so much, Rachel. It was very informative. Thank you. Everybody will get a sort of a digital bundle via the email with all the presentations of the speakers, and also we will send you a link to the recording of our sessions of this thing. Let me get back to the presentation. My presentation. Okay. Let's see. Let's briefly share our insights in the chat. What was the main takeaway for you from today? What kind of things inspired you? Have we been able to change your mindset? Have we been able to inspire you to start your own business, to grow, to scale? Have we achieved our purpose here today? Please share in the chat. Let's show our love to the speakers today. Yes, and please share your LinkedIn profiles as well. Let's all connect. Thank you, Joanna. All of the speakers were inspiring. Thank you. Okay, yes. Package, package, package. Okay. Actionable tips from everyone who shared today. The pack age. Yes, Holly. Very funny. And I also remind you that everybody who is with us today gets a 50% off their annual plan on amazy.uk. Please use the code SCALE50 to get this offer until the end of the day. This is a lot of value. I promise I use the platform every single day, and amazingly, sorry. Amazing is amazing. That's what we like to say. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. We will see you soon, and let's stay in touch. Let's not lose each other. Let's all connect to LinkedIn. And we really hope that after this conference, something will change in your life, and tomorrow you will wake up feeling confident, feeling calm, having this relief inside of you, knowing that the future only brings good things and growth and a lot of things. So, thank you for coming. This is all for today. And I, of course, thank our fantastic speakers. We have Nina and Rachel with us now. Todora has already left, but thank you for coming and sharing. This was a lot of new things for me as well, and I'm really happy to be among such fantastic group of women.
You did fantastic, by the way, as well. I
Thank
was
you.
so blown away. I messaged you on LinkedIn.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for
And
inviting us.
Yes.
goodbye, everybody.